talks with a psychiatrist, our team psychiatrist, and I just felt it. My energy, my spirit just changed. I felt just in a great place, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed. I drowned out the noise, and I came here and I knew what my job was. I left it all on that court, and when I got off the court, I checked out, and now I'm ready to move forward.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kell on the ones and twos. Molly Karen Rose here trying to bring the peace. Let's pick up right where what you just heard with Paul George, guys. I really appreciate the vulnerability he shared there, opening up about his mental health struggles of late. He had been taking some heat, obviously, for being MIA in these playoffs. Last night, we saw the all-star that we are accustomed to. Now it makes sense why he wasn't himself. Glad to hear he's getting the help that he needs. Stephen A., what did his performance mean last night?
Well, what his performance meant is that the Los Angeles Clippers are going to win this series against the Dallas Mavericks, because if Paul George is playing like that, they simply cannot beat the Los Angeles Clippers. It's just that simple. I don't give a damn what Luka Doncic does. I don't care if Porzingis is back either. If Paul George is playing like that, there's nothing that the Dallas Mavericks can do to beat the Los Angeles Clippers with the collection of talent and coaching that they have on that squad. Major, major, major props to Paul George for stepping up to the plate. Obviously, myself and many others had to call him out, because when you are a star, and he is a star, you expect better. And 14, 11, and 9 points consecutively over games 2, 3, and 4 was simply unacceptable for a talent of his magnitude. I had reached out to a couple of people who know him very, very well and said, listen, what the hell is going on with him? He's not himself. Something is missing. Something is awry. He looks passive. He doesn't seem aggressive. He can't find his rhythm. He's one of the most efficient players you can find on both ends of the floor. It simply made no sense. And so, again, to just regurgitate to some degree what you said, Molly, I can't applaud him enough for his incredible candor and honesty as it pertains to what he was going through mentally or emotionally, because that explains it. What we were witnessing over the previous 3 games was a person that simply was not Paul George. It's not the Paul George we've come to know and respect and love. And if you know anything about him on a personal level, he's one of the nicest guys on the planet that you could ever meet. And so you just find yourself rooting for him, and was definitely a bit perplexed that this guy was playing as inefficient and unproductive as he was. And so it was great to see him come out the box, was aggressive, hit the Clippers' first shot, was going at it, was letting everybody know, I'm here tonight, and we ain't having what we saw transpire in Game 4 when Luka Doncic dropped a triple-double on us with 43, 17, and 13. That's not happening this time around. I'm going to put on the show myself and show the world that Kawhi Leonard, this is why he wanted me to be his teammate. This is why he pushed for me to be his teammate. This is why he insisted, whether it would be with Toronto or the Los Angeles Clippers, that I was a guy that was his teammate, even if it meant giving the farm to Oklahoma City. This is what Paul George was set out to send as a message last night, and he damn sure did it.
Well, first of all, I disagree that if the Mavericks are at full strength with a healthy Luka and Porzingis, that there's no way they can win, even with Paul George at full strength, but we can debate that later or at another time. I also commend Paul George, as everyone should, because there's this kind of idea that the killer, that it's kind of like the machismo that goes into being a killer on the court or in a given profession in sports, in a given sport, means that you can never have self-doubt, is ridiculous. From Muhammad Ali to Mariano Rivera to whomever you want to mention, the greatest of all time, of course, are human beings. And sometimes life outside of the field of play can affect them. And even when that does it, they can still doubt themselves at times and lack confidence at certain times more, than at other times. So good for him for being honest. Stephen A., one of the consequences of Paul George being honest here, because I want to focus more on what he said than how he played actually, is he just created more pressure for himself. And I think that sometimes happens after someone turns a corner. They feel like they can be honest about what they've just been going through. It's Paul George and no one else at this point who has tied the way he was feeling off the court to his performance or lack thereof on the court. He just did that. He said, because he was asked about his performance on the court, And he brought up the off-the-court stuff, how he let the bubble get to him, how he was down and he wasn't himself. Meaning, now he is himself. Well, okay, in that case, the bubble is not the excuse anymore. Not to say it wasn't legitimate, that he really was feeling down. And maybe it's his fault for not being able to block that out. Be that as it may, he is saying, I've turned a corner now. This game shows you that the bubble, I'm over that part of it, and now I can focus on being me. So now that takes that out of the equation. And so now the expectation for Paul George, and the Clippers have this expectation, and everyone should, since he is, when healthy, if he's not an MVP caliber player, he is the very next thing to it. And last year, before he got hurt, he was in the MVP conversation, legitimately, both ends of the floor. That is the crime partner Kawhi needs. He needs a partner in crime. He's not going to be able to do this by himself. No disrespect to Montrezl Harrell or Lou Williams, who's just a bucket machine, right? Or Patrick Beverley if he gets healthy. Those guys can all play, and obviously Doc Rivers is a championship coach. But in this NBA, it's almost always the superstar and his partner in crime. And in this case, it's supposed to be two superstars. Paul George is now expected to play like a superstar from here on out, because if he does, the Clippers will win the championship. And if he doesn't, they won't.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.